Welcome to Auto Collabs. You're listening to an exclusive series recorded live at Automobility LA 2025 in partnership with Cars Commerce.
All right, we're here at the LA Automobility with Ryan Decker, VP of Brand and Strategy at
Scout Motors.
I mean,
very cool.
It's a big deal over here. You have a display that sprawls quite a few centimeters, I'll say, and a lot of energy around the brand.
And Scouts belong outside, rain or shine.
I was thinking about that.
I love that.
When
What
it
a
was
flex.
raining, I was like, he's not going to have any problem with the rain, right? Like, this is the thing. You've been a fan of the brand for a long time.
Absolutely. I was one of our earliest employees. So I was lucky enough to see it go from a hallway chit-chat into a company on day one to now a company that's 3 years old with a factory, 2 great show cars.
Wow.
A lot of progress happening on all fronts.
How did you get into the business to begin with?
Winding journey, was always a car person.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time tinkering, I would say, with my dad in my mom's driveway, much to her chagrin, because of all the oil
All
stains.
the oil, everything, everywhere. Yep.
Did the engineering thing in college. A lot of the engineering coursework was in automotive stuff. Career took me in a different direction, but it was sort of always calling me to come back, so made my way back into automotive in 2015 and spent a while working for various Volkswagen Group brands and the Volkswagen Group in general. And then from there, made my way into Scout Motors.
So how did you move from, what was kind of the pivot from engineering to brand and strategy and
it's usually
thinking
not-
about the creative go-to-market?
Not
and
a
things
direct
like that?
line.
Engineering for me was, how do you solve a problem?
Okay.
It was more about how do you unlock curiosity? How do you approach questions in a very disciplined way? And I do think that skill set actually does manifest itself quite nicely in brand and strategy. Everything we do on the brand side is very disciplined. Who's our target? What are we doing? Why are we doing? What are the outcomes? And on the strategy side, it's the same thing. Strategy is a completely open-ended and nebulous space if you let it. But how do you put some structure on it? How do you bring things towards decisions? Right? Anyone can dream big, but how do you take a dream and get it into something that's executable? And I think that's what my engineering background has unlocked for me.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm noticing just about the booth, but also about the brand in general, is there's a very visceral attachment to the aesthetics and the community around those aesthetics, right? You bring kind of the history, bring people through the history, and then to the brand center that is now. How are you drafting community around that aesthetic?
The first point is I think what you're getting at is cohesiveness. And because we're building everything at Scout from a clean sheet, we have such an opportunity to make the company, the brand, the products, the physical activations, the media, the social media all feel super distinctly Scout. And that's a competitive advantage if we get that right. And I think honestly we've done a pretty good job at that. So that's the cohesiveness point. The second point is then community. That is a fundamental of the company, not just the brand. One of the first things we did when the company had 5 employees is we invited 10 Scout OGs to a warehouse in Dallas, and we showed them all of our cards. We showed them our full-size design models. We showed them sort of the company business plan, and we said, what do you think? We want your feedback. And they gave us their feedback, and some of it was a little cutting.
They gave it cutting and skating.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we listened and we changed things, and I think that they, frankly, were just glad to have been included. And that wasn't a one-off. We did that at our unveiling. We do that, frankly, all the time. We have our own forums. Community is a key part of our company.
Well, just announced a major pivot, which seemed surprising because you say you listen to the customer and therefore these generators, gas generators, are going to be added to the vehicle. Is that across the line?
So we announced that at our unveiling last October. Our Harvester range extender is what you're getting at.
Yep.
Yeah, that powertrain will be available on both models.
Wait, you announced that last October?
We announced that last October. And it was our sort of one more thing moment. Because when the company started, it was all electric, right? These vehicles were going to be on the road, or are going to be on the road, well into the 2030s. And given the regulatory environment and everything that we could see, going all electric was the right choice.
Yeah.
Things changed. The market told us what they wanted. We listened to customers. We did a pretty significant pivot. Introduced the range extender when we unveiled our concepts last year. Now, the range extender, in our opinion, is a game changer because it delivers upon the best of what makes an EV cool.
Drivetrain.
Impressive performance, great torque, great acceleration, a front trunk, software that can get better overnight. But
I like how you called it a front trunk. I'm not a fan.
Thanks for not calling
I'm
it
not
a frunk.
fan of the whole frunk thing. Thank you.
But
Thank
it comes
you
with
for
the
that.
confidence of having a vehicle that can do 500 miles that you don't have to worry about range
incredible.
or charging anxiety.
Yeah.
And so we think that's a game changer how we've executed it. And frankly, the company is now built around that. We have the adaptability to install these in the factory. The platform can fit it and package it very nicely. Our service facilities will know how to do oil changes. Right, the entire company now has range extender in its DNA, and we're quite excited and motivated by that.
As you come to market now and look to go into production and delivering these vehicles, what are you excited about the next couple of years as you get into like full market extension?
Well, one, I can't wait for customers to actually get behind the wheels of these things. So
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to drive one of our first mules about a month ago, and it was like goosebumps moment for me.
Oh, the first time you drove?
First time I actually drove, like really drove it, like on a dynamic course.
Right.
And yeah, seeing everything go from one employee to two employees to actually having real hardware that I could sit in and drive was super special.
Wow.
But it was also awesome. So that platform that we're developing, it did exactly what we wanted to do. It's fun, it's dynamic, it feels like you can do anything you want with it. It drives like an absolute bat out of you know what. Like it was awesome. A really cool experience.
Can you
That's
tell us a little bit about your approach to the sales model and how you expect to serve customers?
We are going, the way we see it, we're building an all-new company, all-new factory, all-new platform, all-new products, all-new brand. We felt it was right that we should go with an all-new sales model that does what we think is right for our customers. And in that case, it is putting them in the center of the company, selling to them and servicing their vehicles directly. Mm-hmm. We want to earn their trust. We want to deliver transparency to them. And at the end of the day, we want to deliver what we see as the best possible relationship for them, and we want to own that directly.
Who do you see? How would you define the primary quintessential Scout customer?
It's a great question. We don't want to make sure that we don't put that quintessential customer into too tidy of a box. Because we do know that Scout is a 50-state brand and will be 50-state products. It's not just overly coastal. We want some heartland appeal with these products. So that's one. We also know what our target customers are driving today. And it's the rugged SUVs that are gasoline products. It's full-size pickup trucks that are gasoline products. But it also appeals to the EV people. Mm-hmm. So we see the most successful BEVs in our target customer list as well. But in general, I think our target customers are living 4 key trends that we see. Rediscovering outdoors, whether it's hiking trails, national parks, pick your own orchards. People are more outdoors than ever before. Mm-hmm. DIY, hands-on, whether it's people flipping houses or restoring antique furniture. People are rolling their sleeves up and doing more stuff. 3, they're de-urbanizing. They're getting out of our big cities and they're moving to smaller cities, if not small towns. Mm-hmm. And 4 is this kind of craving for authenticity. Whether it's sneakers, whether it's workwear and jackets, whether it's vinyl and record players, there's this big time push towards authentic products and brands. We think Scout can appeal to all 4 of those megatrends. And we know when people do those things, they need something more versatile. They need a tool. We think they need a Scout.
Very cool. I actually, so we're like big merch people. You can see like we throw our merch on, like we love that type of vibe. And I saw some of like the product specialists and people wearing about your merch today. How do you go about like thinking about the connection of the wearable to the drivable?
To me, it's just like, again, it comes back to the idea of cohesiveness, and it's the thoughtfulness in every detail. And you're right, the team spends a lot of time on what's the outfit, what's the attire, what's the wardrobe, what's the strapping, what's the materials, what's the warmth of the LED lighting. Every detail now really matters to us as we're building this company from a clean sheet of paper, and we want to make sure we draw the best picture we can on that clean sheet of paper.
What do the next 12 months look like?
Hard at it. There's a lot to do.
Busy.
So factory getting built. We'll continue to ramp up the factory in terms of hiring the folks who will work there, but also installing the equipment, starting to make the first bodies that will come out of that factory. On the vehicle project side, it's more testing, cold weather testing, durability testing, dynamic testing. We're awarding all of our parts. We're awarding all of our suppliers. So hard work there. The company is still growing across every single department. And on the brand side, we want to continue to show up. We mentioned community. We want to continue to grow the community, get the Scout brand out there, which is why we're here in Los Angeles today.
You know, it's one of the challenges to how do you build, maintain, and cultivate a brand before you have anything that they can, a product that they can buy or interact with. One of the things that we've seen, we saw what happened with Fisker, right? They had to generate this momentum for a long period of time before they finally launched a product. So not an easy thing. When's the big payoff going to happen?
Starting initial production is targeted for 2027. Deliveries will begin as soon as possible.
As soon as humanly possible.
Follow along with our progress. I can promise we're hard at it and going as fast as we can, but there is a lot of work to do, as you can imagine.
Right, your smile's infectious. Your passion is definitely felt. Kudos on where you've come so far, and encouragement to the future. And thanks for joining us here for a bit of time today and sharing your story.
Thank you, guys. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to this LA Auto Show session brought to you by Cars Commerce. At More Than Cars, we are obsessed with uniting people around one big idea: to make retail auto an industry that people fight to join. If that resonates with you, head over to morethancars.com to check out our daily email and explore our full list of podcasts.